What is going on, guys? This is Noah and Logan back with another episode of Courtside TV, and today we're going to be coming with another episode about the NBA. So the first thing I think we're going to talk about today is the tank race. Right now it is a 5-team race for Zion Williamson or whoever else they can get. It's the Bulls, the Cavs, the Knicks, the Suns, and the Hawks. I wouldn't say that their teams are going out trying to lose every night, as much as it might seem like that, but right now it's between these 5 teams for who can get the top pick. So, Logan, what are your initial thoughts on how the tank race is going?
So I personally really like some of these young teams, like the Hawks, the Suns, the Knicks. We're not quite sure yet. Obviously, they're probably betting on getting Zion. The Cavs, we'll see with the Cavs, and then who's the other teams? The Bulls. The Bulls, I think the best of those young teams that are looking like they're going to get a high draft pick are the Hawks, Bulls, and Suns. Those 3 we can see a future already with. The Knicks and Cavs, not so much. But, and I'm sure we're going to get to talking about this, the odds are really, really close. They just changed this year, I believe. So Noah will talk about those odds. But, I really think teams 1 through 5 have a really good shot at getting that number 1 pick. Like I said, Noah will talk about the exact odds. But I do like those 3 teams I mentioned, and I already see a future with them. Obviously, with the Hawks, the young core is Trae Young and John Collins. With the Suns, the young core is Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton. And with the Bulls, the young core is Levine and Markkanen. So all 3 have a young guard and a young big man who are really up and coming and doing well in the league. So you can already see the core with those 3 teams. And the other 2, Sexton's there. And then
It's got Kevin Love.
And Kevin Love's still there, right? And then with the Knicks, Dennis Smith Jr. They just kind of tanked with that Porzingis trade. But yeah, so I guess we'll get into the odds now.
Yeah, I think that definitely the Porzingis trade was, without directly tanking, it led to them having to tank. But so in past years, the worst team in the league had a 25% chance of getting the number 1 pick. And I think it went down to 19% and kept going down. This year they switched it up. So the top 3 teams all have an even chance of getting the top 4 picks. It's 14, 13, 12, and an even lower percentage of 12% of getting those top 4 picks. So really, right now it's the Knicks, the Suns, and the Cavs all have an equal chance of getting those top 3 picks, or top 4 picks or whatever. And then the Bulls have a slightly lower chance at 12.5% to get the number 1, and the Hawks have a little lower at 10.5%. So really, it's roughly even odds for those top 5 teams to end up with the number 1 pick. And even, a team like the Lakers and the Kings, the Lakers have a 1% chance of being the number 1 pick, and the Kings have a 0.5%, which, obviously very unlikely that either of those things happen, but it is a chance. And I really like how it's kind of evened out now. So, the Hawks and the Grizzlies are right around there, the Wizards, those are teams that, have an opportunity to still win games while still having a pretty good shot of getting that number 1 pick, which might not seem fair, but the reason that the NBA installed a lottery system was the issue of tanking. So I think, we were discussing this earlier, in 1985 was the first year of the lottery, which was when the Knicks ended up getting Patrick Ewing. Because a couple of years before that, teams were flat out saying yeah, we're going to lose so that we can end up winning. And it's if they said that today, there'd be issues, but so they were trying to figure out a way around it, which would be losing on purpose and just going with the odds. But now, these odds are basically saying just go and try and win, and if you're that bad, then it'll help you out. But you still have to try and win. So what do you think about these new odds?
Yeah, I really like that the top 3 teams have the same percent chance. So it's not a race to see who can get the worst record. It's if you're those 3 teams, the Suns, the Knicks, and the Cavs, you're saying, okay, well, we might as well win. We're not... Those 3 probably aren't going to fall out of that top 3. I think that 3 is going to stay the same. They could switch. I know the Suns have 1 less win than the Knicks have 1 less win than the Suns. So they could switch around in that 1 through 3, but it doesn't matter because they all have the same chance. So I really like that part of it. And then with the 4th, 5th, 6th, and then just continuously going down, I really like that a lot too. It just adds an element of excitement, I think, to the draft lottery. And how crazy would it be if that 0.5% or that 1% team ended up getting the first overall pick? We talked about this. If the Lakers, they have a 1% chance right now, if the season ended today, they would have a 1% chance. They'd be the 14th, so they'd be, I think, is that the last in the lottery?
Or second to last.
Second to last in the lottery. So if that happened, I think a lot of people would think the league is rigged, but it also is just fun to think about the what ifs. It won't happen, but yeah, I think more than likely that number one pick will go to the top three because that's around 42 to 45% of all the teams that have a chance. So it'll go to those three, but I really like that now, and I'm excited to see the lottery this year.
Yeah, it actually, this website has the average pick for each team. So based on the statistics, the Knicks should get around the 3.7th pick, which would be like 3 or 4. Phoenix 3.9, Cavs 4.1, Bulls 4.4, Hawks 5. So it's like, nobody has a significant chance. Like it's almost like a guaranteed number one pick. Like you could lose on purpose and not get rewarded for it, which I think it really is what the lottery system is about, is preventing that intentional losing, or at least discouraging it. Another thing is the Hawks have the Mavs pick too, as long as it stays outside the top 5. So, if it gets to be the top 5 somehow based on this lottery, then the Mavs would actually get the pick. But other than that, the Mavs pick's supposed to land around 7, Hawks around 5, so Hawks would get both of those picks, which would be very cool for them. Here's just another statistic, kind of numbers put together. So for the remainder of the season, this is the amount of games that these teams have against teams that are not in the playoffs or not within half a game of the playoffs. So a team like the Kings would be included here. The Knicks have 11 of those games against those lower tier teams. The Suns have 9, the Bulls have 7, the Cavs have 6, and the Hawks only have 3. So the Hawks probably have the toughest schedule for the remainder of the year, which could help them, help them drop to get a better percentage. I think obviously all these teams are going to go out there and try and win games because of this new lottery system, but it gives the Hawks the hardest schedule, which help them grow as a team, but also give them the better odds in the draft.
Yeah. So I really like the new lottery odds. I think Noah does as well, and that's pretty much that. All we got to do is now just wait for the season to finish out, and then we'll have the draft lottery, and then we'll have an idea of which teams are where and what players are going at what positions.
Yeah, it should be a fun lottery.
Yep.
All right, so the next thing we're going to move on to talk about is what is going on in Boston and LA. I know, Logan, you said you've watched the last couple Lakers games, so I'm going to let you go ahead and start with this. What's wrong with the Lakers?
So I've watched probably the last 3 or 4, most of the games since the All-Star break now, for the Lakers. And the announcer last night was talking about, they did a poll, or NBA TV did a poll, what's the problem with the Lakers? And the number one voted problem was chemistry. And I completely agree with that, but at the same time, the announcer said there's a lot more that goes into a team and an organization. And the chemistry, I think, definitely is pretty rough right now. And that has a lot to do with LeBron coming in. These young guys are out in LA, I'm sure any young guy would love to get drafted to LA, whether that be the Clippers or the Lakers. You're going to be in LA. That's a great spot for young people. They're going to love it there. And so these young guys Ingram, Kuzma, Ball, they're starting their careers in a really good city, all-time organization. And then here comes the greatest player in the world at the moment, arguably. And it's okay, so what do we do? It's they're there, but they're not the focus anymore. It's LeBron. And people are trying to pinpoint a problem, chemistry, this, that. I'm just going to hold LeBron accountable and say the problem is him. Now people are talking about LeBron shouldn't have gone to LA, yada, yada, yada. But to me, yes, I would love to see him stay in Cleveland, but I understand why he went to LA. He's more than likely going to retire in LA. He'll have a home in Cleveland. He's probably going to retire in LA, though. Be doing movies, shows. He just did an album with 2 Chainz. LeBron made this move for his personal life rather than a basketball move, I think. And he knew coming to LA and the Lakers that they weren't going to win a title immediately. And we thought they'd make the playoffs, and after last night's loss to the Clippers, that's probably not going to happen. The Lakers have less than a 1% chance to make the playoffs. That's probably not going to happen. But like I said, I go back to holding it to LeBron. Every time the opposing team makes a shot, he just shrugs his shoulders or points at his teammates or whatever it may be. The body language is absolutely horrible, and for a leader, that's not how a leader should be acting. I understand he's played a lot of basketball in his career. He's obviously, like he has even said himself in interviews, taking the high road a lot, and it's hard to do that. So I kind of feel like this might be an accumulation of frustration throughout his career, just piling up, and he's kind of letting it show now. And obviously, being with young guys, they don't have the IQ that he has. They don't have the experience he has, and so I feel like LeBron should be in more of a teaching mode rather than, oh, I'm just going to get frustrated and hang my head. Like, if one of the guys like Ingram or Kuzma makes a wrong play, makes a mistake on a defensive assignment, I feel like LeBron needs to be constructive in helping them, build them up, rather than shrugging his shoulders, because they see that and they're like, wow, we have the best player arguably in the league on our team, and he's just, shrugging his shoulders and stuff. Something I took to heart the other day. Not a metaphor, not a whatchamacallit for Josh Hart, but I love LeBron, right? He's my favorite player, and the only day I don't like LeBron is when Michigan plays Ohio State, right? Because, he's an Ohio State fan. The other day, I can't remember which game it was. It might have been the Bucks. Mo Wagner came in the game. My boy from Michigan, right? Beast. Who doesn't love Mo Wagner? Like, he's just a likable guy, right? Fun. He plays basketball. He's a great, just whatever. And a play happened, and LeBron, yelled at Mo. Like, LeBron made a pass, and I think it, hit off Mo's hand and something. And LeBron just, pointed at him, yelling at him, yada, yada. Okay. I understand, the teammate needs to make the play. But at the same time, that's just another example to me of him, the leadership just being toxic, I would say. Mm-hmm. Toxic leadership from LeBron. That's what I'm going to label it. But, there's a lot going on there, and it's going to take a lot to fix. They need to sign a big free agent this summer. And get a good draft pick. So, okay, enough about the Lakers.
Well, I was going to just add a couple more last comments about the Lakers. I think it's also, one thing it's definitely not helping is injuries. Lonzo's been out for however long he has. They said, I think Stephen A. said, I'll give the Lakers one last chance. If they win Monday, which was yesterday, then I'll still keep them in the race. If they lose, I'd say they're done. And then Brandon Ingram's out. So it's it's LeBron being the leader of the team, it does rest a lot on him, but there's also been a lot of unfortunate things. Mm-hmm. And I think the reason a lot of people wish, personally me, I think I wish he would have stayed in Cleveland, not because, I just think that going to LA, it was a big risk. If it worked out, it would have seemed great, because then you could have been an all-time Laker, and that's a huge deal with, the amount of star power that's gone through there. But it was also a huge risk, because if he goes to Cleveland and just doesn't do that well, it'll be like, wow, LeBron's, kind of declining, okay, no big deal. Retires in Cleveland, still has a home there. Not really a big deal as much. It's just kind of, the evolution of the game. But now he's going to LA, and he's got the added LeBron, LeBron spotlight plus the spotlight of LA. It was just a lot of pressure, especially on the young guys. Things are happening that just aren't working out in the Lakers' favor. Not all that he can control, but, when you have that 1 minute highlight reel against the Grizzlies of him just not playing defense at all, not giving any effort, it can, like you said, toxic leadership, I think, could definitely be a factor.
Yeah. And like Noah said, the injuries, and also I will add in that Kyle Kuzma sprained his ankle last night against the Clippers and will be out for who knows how many games. So LeBron missed 18 games. Lonzo's missed a bunch. Ingram's missing some. Kuzma missing some.
And they trade Zubac.
Toronto missed a lot at the beginning of the season. Yeah. Tyson Chandler's missing time. Lance Stevenson missing time, which I don't really... Anyway, and I also will say I do think it was a mistake on the Lakers' part to trade Zubac away. I thought he was a really good young center who was going to be not a star, but he was going to be a really solid center, and he still is on pace to be like that. He's playing well for the Clippers. Mm-hmm. A lot going on in LA, and unfortunately the reason it's going on is because LeBron went there. So I think they'll be okay. There's a lot of drama right now, but I think come next year, everyone healthy, potential lottery draft pick, and a potential big free agent. I really think the only guys that are realistic for the Lakers would be Klay Thompson, maybe Jimmy Butler, and probably not Kawhi, just because I think the Raptors will make the finals.
Yeah, I can't see Kawhi leaving.
But I would say Jimmy and Klay. They need to get one of those two guys in free agency. But even if they don't get a big free agent and they just have that lottery draft pick, I think come next year with everyone healthy, should be playoffs no problem.
Year of development.
Right, yeah. Should be playoffs no problem. Lonzo Ball is going to be better. Brandon Ingram's going to be better. Kyle Kuzma should be playoffs no problem next year if they are healthy.
And like we had talked about, LeBron's teams have always surrounded him with shooters. Like in Miami, even a bunch of the role players were all shooters in Cleveland. And then what do they do this year? They get Rajon Rondo, Lance Stevenson,
who I will say is shooting the best of his career, but he's shooting way too much.
That is true.
I could go very in depth about the last few games that I've watched for the Lakers.
Yeah.
But when 4 out of 5 straight possessions are Rajon Rondo 3-pointers, I don't feel bad for you if you're losing games. Like I tweeted this last night. I said the Lakers play sloppy basketball. Last night watching the Clippers, they set up their offense. They screens, pick and rolls, whatever it may be. They run an offense. And then the Lakers would just try to rush it down the court, turn the ball over. Or Rondo would come down, not pass the ball, there'd be a screen, and he'd shoot a 3. Or LeBron will stand at the top of the key, hold the ball, wait for someone to do like a little slip or cut, throw it. It'll either be a turnover or the guy catches it and misses the shot. Like, it's just really bad basketball. And I hate to blame Luke Walton because it's like LeBron's the leader and he needs to take control of the game. But at the same time, like, a couple of plays out of timeouts last night for the Lakers were JaVale McGee post-ups. And that's just, like, inexcusable when you have LeBron, Kuzma, Hart, Caldwell Pope. Like, you got guys who can shoot the ball and score, and you go to... Anyway, a lot going on there, but I think we're going to move on to...
Yeah, we can move on to Boston. So, the thing around Boston is they're probably the deepest team, if not one of the deepest, most talented teams in the league. They had a lot of injuries last year, and they had a lot of guys that were able to produce, and now they have everybody back. They have 8 or 9 guys that could be starters on other teams, like a lot of other teams. And all of that culmination of talent, and they're just not reaching the expectations. They're number 5 in the East. They're behind Indiana, who lost Victor Oladipo. You've seen the interviews of Kyrie Irving just seeming disinterested in anything going on. They're like asking, what do you guys need to do to get better? I don't know. It's up to Brad Stevens. It's like you're the leader of the team. And earlier in the season, he was extremely vocal. Now he's kind of not being vocal. He's being extra petty. It's almost seems like there's a lot of pettiness going on. Like maybe they called him out for being too vocal. And now he's just like, all right, well, I'm just going to do what they want to do. So what do you think's going on in Boston?
So Boston, they're sitting at 5th in the East right now, and I think they probably were projected to be more of like top 4 in the East, top 3 in the East. Boston is interesting to me because you really look at every position for them, and they have advantages against most teams in the league. I mean, Kyrie, we know who Kyrie is. Al Horford is a veteran. We know what he can do. Jason Tatum had a great rookie year. Yeah, great rookie year. And I think we expected him to continue to be on the incline for his sophomore season. Jaylen Brown has gotten better as his career's gone on. So we just looked at the Celtics and we're like, okay, Kyrie, all-star, Gordon Hayward, all-star, Al Horford, who has been an all-star, and then 2 young guys in Tatum and Brown who are up-and-coming, Terry Rozier up-and-coming. Like, they've seemed like the perfect team this year. They've got star power, they've got young guys, they've got role players, Marcus Smart, Aaron Baines, guys like that. And so they just seem like a perfect team. Like Noah said, the deepest team, just solid players at every single position. And some of the struggles this season, I think, is because of Kyrie's performance. I don't know if he tries to take on too much or what, but he's the star player. He needs to be able to do that. And then this is not really the Celtics as a team's fault, but since this happened, I thought Gordon Hayward should have never left Utah. Because if you look at Utah right now, think about Donovan Mitchell, Gordon Hayward, and Rudy Gobert. Gordon Hayward had slowly, his stats were increasing as his career went on, and his final season in Utah, he averaged 20 a game. And then he goes to Boston, the leg injury happens, and you can't blame him for that. That's just a freak accident, and now he's not doing very well. But I don't think he should have ever left Utah. That's a different topic. But, yeah, I think that's another chemistry thing. I mean, they're going to make the playoffs, so I don't think it's as big a deal. But I will say, like I told Noah the other day, Boston put this team together to win now. LeBron knew he wasn't winning a title right now coming to LA. I mean, they want to sign some big free agents, which they didn't this season, this past offseason. They need to this next one. But Boston put this team together to win now. And then Gordon Hayward's injury basically put a year, wait or a year hold on that. Even though they made the Eastern Conference Finals and lost to the Cavs and LeBron. The Celtics put this team together to win now, and they're 5th in the East. So the expectations, just like in LA, the expectations are high. The two best franchises ever. And when they fall short of expectations, there's a lot of drama.
Yeah. So here's a couple hopeful statistics for Boston. They're 3-0 against Philadelphia. They are currently 1-1 against Indiana. They got 2 more to play. Finished 1-2 against Milwaukee and 2-2 against Toronto. So a winning or tied record against all of the other top tier teams in the East except Milwaukee. They are 28-13 in the East, which is a very good record. I'd say that they get up for the big games, but they have had a couple injuries along the way. Nothing too major, but they just seem, how the Warriors have been in the past recently, just disinterested during the regular season. I'd say that a lot of them are thinking like, oh, we're basically a lock to make the finals, or at least they did coming into the season now because LeBron left the East. So they probably just, haven't really cared as much, and that's created chemistry issues because I'm sure like a guy like Kyrie Irving, very vocal, cares about every single game. Like he's talked about that before. He doesn't want any of the fame and glory they thought he wanted. He just wants to play basketball. So when there's guys that are worried about, getting theirs, and, there's probably a lot of chemistry issues just on a night-to-night basis, just wanting different things. And they've got, they're probably thinking, oh, we'll be fine come playoff time, which I wouldn't put it past them. But they have a month, really, before the playoffs start to really get ready for that playoffs. And I think it's not something you can just be like, okay, it's a playoff game now. We just got to turn it on. It's got to happen over the next month. They're going to have to get hot going into the playoffs. But I still think they'll be fine. I know they've had a lot of up and down parts of this season, a lot of drama surrounding them, but I think coming into that last stretch of games, it's not outside of, I think, looks like Washington, Orlando, besides Indiana, it's really some teams that are barely making the playoffs or not making the playoffs. So, give them some good tests, but also I think that they're really going to need to do well in that stretch to be ready.
Yeah, and I think that the Celtics will definitely turn it on come playoff time. Also depends on who they get matched up against. Right. If it's a 4-5 against like Philly, that'd be a very interesting first round.
But again, they're 3-0 against them this year.
True. So depends on the matchup, but I think they will turn it up come playoff time and make a push for the Eastern Conference Finals. We'll see if they make it, but yeah, that's pretty much all I've got to say for Boston.
A lot of interesting things are going to be coming up over the next month or so as we head towards the playoffs. You got to see how those teams are going to do, who's going to finish atop, because they got the Warriors and Bucks as the top 2 teams right now. How will some young teams like the Nuggets and the Bucks that have never really made playoff pushes, how will they do? How will the Raptors do now? The Kawhi's there and LeBron's not in the East to be their kryptonite. How will they do? And then also another interesting thing is how is the Rookie of the Year race gonna finish? Yeah, because Luka started off really hot and still is playing at a high level. But Trae Young's really turned it on as of late. So just a couple closing comments. Just what do you think about that race?
Yeah, so we've kind of talked about this, me and Noah have, and Trae obviously right now is making a big push for Rookie of the Year, but Rookie of the Year is of the year and not of, half of the year or whatever. So because Luka had such a great first half of the season and is maintaining that, I think he'll probably still win it unless Trae does something like... Unless Trae averages like 30 to 35 points a game the rest of the season, I think Luka will take it just because Trae had a rough start to the season, but now he's coming on. But yeah, so Luka.
Yeah, I think definitely I think that Trae Young won't end up winning it just because it is the whole season. But there was one thing, I can't find it right now.
The Eastern Conference Player of the
Week. Eastern Conference Player of the Week. Ben Simmons got it, averaging 17 points.
And like 14 boards.
14 boards and like 8 assists when Trae Young averaged over that week.
35.
Yeah, here it is. It was 17 points, 13 boards, 8 assists, right? On 55% shooting. But, of course, didn't make a 3. Trae Young that week. 35 points, 5 boards, 10 assists, 51% shooting, and 56% from 3. If someone could, and that was including the game that he got thrown out for that horrible, both of those texts were horrible calls. has to explain that to me, what the NBA was thinking. But, if you guys keep writing Trae Young off, maybe he'll keep putting up 50-point games. No, I'm just kidding. But he'll, hopefully he continues to at least finish off this year strong. Would love to see him take that into the offseason for all that confidence. Even if he doesn't win Rookie of the Year, I think that, I think we're going to talk about this in another video, just how promising this entire rookie class is going to be.
Yep.
But I think that's all for today. So thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you guys like and subscribe, and we will see you next time.